The world was sent a buzz when Musk announced that he might resign from SpaceX and Tesla. What's the truth? Make sure to stay tuned in this video. Welcome to Elon Musk Rewind. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell icon to get updated with Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, and everything about Elon Musk. Is it getting closer to the day Elon Musk leaves the companies he's helped build to become a full-time influencer? Or at least, that was the implication of a likely playful, but maybe also self-aware tweet that made some wonder if he was being serious. As Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla Incorporated, seeks to join the influence game, he might not be well received by social media influencers. He's one of the richest men in the world, and he posted to his official Twitter account that he is seriously considering quitting. And what would he do? Well, that's the question. To influence? Probably. Musk wrote on Twitter, without elaborating or providing any context, "Thinking of quitting my jobs and becoming an influencer full-time, WDYT. As you may know, WDYT stands for, what do you think? Although Musk has never been an active critic or sharer on the microblogging site, it's not clear whether he meant it when he said he would be leaving his positions, or if he was just making fun of it. With this, I wouldn't be surprised if Elon decided to become a full-time influencer in the future. Considering that he recently crowdsourced the decision to sell a huge part of his Tesla stock, which is on the verge of bankruptcy as one of his biggest businesses, and he's being sued for $160 million by one of the world's biggest banks, you can start to understand why he may want out. There's the potential likelihood that the tweet reflected some self-awareness. This is because it's no surprise then that Musk is already an incredibly powerful force able to completely change market conditions with a single tweet. It's conceivable that he named the introduction of both private spaceflight and electric vehicles. Now, even though he's not exactly a Kardashian, it's not hard to consider him among the most visible influencers in the world right now. He might want to become big by dancing on TikTok. Remember his cringe EDM song from a few years ago? Maybe he'll start an Instagram page for people who make controversial hairstyle choices. This being said, it's a world of possibilities to become an influencer. But likely, Musk is just cracking jokes 280 characters at a time. He likes to stir the pot. Nevertheless, it wouldn't be surprising to see him relocate back to Los Angeles to join an influencer house. In the meantime, SpaceX has been granted permission to communicate with Starship during next year's orbital flight tests by the Federal Communications Commission. As a result of the licensing agreement, SpaceX has been granted this license to communicate via ground-based antennas to receive data during the first orbital flight tests early next year. SpaceX intends to begin its orbital missions before March 1, 2022, according to its FCC filing. It still needs to receive regulatory approval from the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, that is currently monitoring environmental conditions at the launch site of Starbase in South Texas for safe spaceflight operations. After the environmental assessment is complete, SpaceX can apply for an FAA spaceflight license, and the deadline to do so is December 31st. According to a separate document filed with the FCC, the Starship orbital test flight will originate from Starbase, Texas. The booster stage will separate approximately 170 seconds into the flight. The booster will then perform a partial return and land in the Gulf of Mexico, approximately 20 miles or 32 kilometers from the shore. Then, SpaceX wrote, the orbital Starship will continue flying between the Florida Straits. It will achieve orbit until performing a powered, targeted landing approximately 100 kilometers off the northwest coast of Kauai in Hawaii in a soft ocean landing. On the other hand, Musk has previously said he expects the ambitious orbital flight attempt to take place between January and February of next year and maintains that 12 or more launches may follow through 2022. He stated that the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine 183rd Space Studies Board Conference, "We're close to our initial orbital launch," he said. "There's a lot of risks associated with this first launch, so I wouldn't say it's likely to be successful, but I think we will make a lot of progress." According to SpaceX, the company's goal for its first orbital test is to collect as much data as possible during flight to quantify entry dynamics and better understand what the vehicle experiences in a flight regime that is extremely difficult to accurately predict or replicate computationally, as SpaceX stated. This data will anchor any chances in vehicle design or ConOps, concept of operations, after the first flight and build better models for us to use in our internal simulations. Further, Starship engineers are working on designing a fully reusable launch system. As a result of the orbital flight, the engineers will be able to improve the design. Then Musk said about Starship, I think it's a very profound vehicle. I don't think anything like it is being developed, and I don't think anything like it has ever been proposed, but it has the potential to affect human destiny in a very good way. Musk claims Starship will allow NASA astronauts to develop a permanent base on the moon, and the launch system might also allow the human race to establish a sustainable settlement on Mars. Russia criticized SpaceX. Now they are reserving a seat for a cosmonaut. It's been years of snide remarks, mockery, and even thinly veiled threats, but now Russia wants to make peace with SpaceX. Russian astronaut Anna Kikina will fly to the International Space Station late next year aboard the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule, rather than on a Soyuz. And that was the announcement on Twitter made by Dmitry Rogozin. In addition to the NASA astronaut traveling aboard a Soyuz during next year, the arrangement is part of a seat barter arrangement. Rogozin and Musk have been feuding for years. However, Rogozin's actions of late seem to indicate that the two appear to have forgotten about their differences. Essentially, NASA, SpaceX, and Russia are all ready to work together to send humans into orbit, and that's a very positive development for space exploration in the future. Rogozin later stated at a press conference in October through a translator, "In our view, SpaceX has already acquired enough experience for us to be able to put our cosmonauts on Crew Dragon." And he added that, "I believe we will be in a position to discuss candidates who may be flying to the space station on board the Crew Dragon, Russian cosmonauts and American astronauts who will be flying to the space station on Russian spacecraft." Several SpaceX crewed missions to the ISS have taken place over the last couple of years, proving Crew Dragon is ready to conduct missions. So what are the chances it will replace the Russian workhorse, the Soyuz? Doesn't seem likely to happen in the short term. NASA has used spacecraft since the late 1960s to carry astronauts into space. Even though Roscosmos has made a few changes to the capsule's technology over the years, the basic design has remained the same. By allowing seat bartering, the international community has demonstrated that cooperation can be mutually beneficial, a fact that the existence of the ISS serves as the ultimate proof. The billionaire Musk, on the other hand, was assailed by Twitter users who asked him if they could swap roles with him becoming an influencer on social media and they take over his position as Tesla's CEO and the richest man on Earth. In a January conference call, Musk said it would be nice to have a bit more free time on my hands as opposed to just working day and night from when I wake up to when I go to sleep, 7 days a week. Pretty intense. Musk also founded brain chip startup Neuralink and leads infrastructure startup The Boring Company. He expects to serve as Tesla's CEO for several years. He's recently informed his fans on Twitter that he's seeking artificial intelligence or AI engineers who are passionate about solving everyday problems using AI. He tweeted alongside a link to the job posting, "As always, Tesla is looking for hardcore AI engineers who care about solving problems that directly affect people's lives in a major way." Regulators and shareholders have not always taken Musk's Twitter hijinks as humor. For instance, Tesla shares plummeted after Musk announced in jest on April Fool's Day that the company had gone bankrupt in 2018. In June that year, he was sued by the Securities and Exchange Commission for tweets about buying Tesla for a significantly lower price than marijuana culture, which he thought would entertain his girlfriend. Tesla's stock fell 2.1% to $982.53 shortly after trading began. During the week of November 4th and 5th, Musk sold off about 20% of the stock. In a tweet last month, he said he would decide whether to sell 10% of his stake in the car maker based on a poll he took. Since then, he has sold more than 11 million shares. However, he has trimmed 10% of his direct share ownership about 2/3 of the way. To get down to the threshold referred to, he has to dispose of approximately 6 million shares more, depending on whether he has exercisable options. And according to Bloomberg Billionaires Index, Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla and Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, has a fortune of $266 billion, which grew by $110 billion this year. Therefore, we may not know what the real purpose of Musk's current tweet is, but for me, I presume it's just a fun thing for him, and he's not resigning as chairman for his two giant tech companies. And maybe he's just trying to calm himself, as we all know that one of these is rumored to be on the verge of bankruptcy. That's all for this video about Elon Musk, and thank you for watching. If you'd like to receive updates about him, make sure you click the subscribe and bell icon.